Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go out again.
And good evening. We are live. We're here. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. We always start a few minutes early so we can check our equipment. We got a great show today. All week long, we have just been burning up the airwaves with Sister Hughes, Latricia Hughes. She has been on here 3 days, and I'm telling you, the information that we've been putting out to the American people is second to none. You can believe that. We did get live. Okay, we are up and live. So let's share it around to our groups, folks. Y'all come on in. We got a great show. We got great guests. We got Kathleen Murray in here, who's running for the Illinois Senate seat, the 21st district. She's going to be in here. She's going to be talking about the parental rights bill that we're trying to get passed to give parents back their rights in the state. So y'all come on in. If you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio, and I am your host, David L. Lowry Jr., and the show is Let the Truth Be Told, Let the Truth Be Told. I'd rather for you to hurt me with the truth than comfort me with a lie. Y'all share it around and come on in. We got a great show. This is what we need. We need people in office like Miss Murray, who is going to stand up for the parents in Illinois, and we want to make sure she has a great opportunity to get in office, to be able to carry the banner and to be able to help make sure parents are back in control of their children. So y'all want to share it around. Y'all want to tune in and really take some time out to listen, watch, get your kids so that they can see. And believe me, it's that time. Parents need to be back in control of the system. They need to be in control of their kids. So y'all share it around. We got a great show. Let me hear you say something, partner. How you doing over there?
Still breathing.
Okay.
Still breathing.
I'm glad you're breathing. Miss Mary, let me hear you.
I'm here.
All right, then. We good. All right, folks. Y'all can share it around. We got a great show. Y'all come on in and check us out. Y'all can also find us on TECNTV.com. That's the exceptional conservative network. We're out of Washington, D.C., and we're streaming live to Facebook. We're streaming live to YouTube. And I want to welcome folks to come on in, check out the show, get you some information, because you don't want to miss this show, because this is regarding our children and what we can do going forward to assist them so that they can get a good education, not just going to school and graduating them without anything in their head. But this is the time we stand up for them, get them a good education, and get our parental rights back. So y'all share it around, let folks know we got a great show coming on tonight. And we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. We're sharing it around to our groups. Queen, I'm in the studio. What's up? You okay?
Oh, okay. Well, no, I got my operation date moved up to December 13th.
Okay. Well, call me about after 7.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Yeah, folks, y'all come on in. We got a great show coming up, and you don't want to miss it. Got a lot of good information that's going to be out there regarding the laws and so forth that's in the school dealing with our children, and that's what we need. We need somebody who is going to be able to stay rep.
I can hear you. I've tried 3 different earbuds and it won't pair.
You sound good now.
Well, I'm sitting in the front of the bus instead of the back of the bus.
You had to get away from all them rowdy people, you know. But folks, y'all come in. We got a great show.
I knew you'd like that.
We got the state rep Dan Coughlin in, and we got elect state rep Kathleen Murray. We got a great show. We're talking about the new bill that's coming out, the parental rights bill. Y'all share it around. We got a great show. Good information gonna be out there. You want to take this time, listen and learn on what's going on with our children, and learn on what's going on in the Illinois legislation. See, this is where we messing up at. We don't stay in contact with our legislators, and now we have no other choice. But this is a great show, folks. Y'all tune in, share it around, get some information so that you can use it coming up when it comes regarding your children. And that's what this is going to be about. the new parental rights bill that we're trying to get through Illinois legislation, and we got some people here to talk about that. And listen, you don't want to miss this show. This is going to be very informational. 3 minutes, 2 minutes before showtime, folks, and we're going to get it in. I can hear you now. Good, good, good. Stay rep.
We're good.
Oh yeah, we good to go.
I'm a little. I may have a little difficulty hearing you, but so far so good.
Okay, cool. You tell Bailey and them to pat down back there. What Joe told him, Joe told the Blaine is, y'all pat down over there.
I know.
You guys, I want to take y'all out till we get ready. So, folks, it's getting to be that time. We got a few minutes. We finna get started with the show. I want to thank folks for tuning in. Got a great show coming up at you today. Let's see, we got everything in here. 2 minutes. Y'all share it around. Y'all come on in and get ready. You don't want to miss it. We got the parental rights bill coming up that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing that, and we're going to make sure that parents know their rights. You got to know your rights if you're going to be out here and your kids are in these public schools with all this foolishness. So we're going to make sure you know your rights. Okie dokie. What time is it? All right, let's get started.
We don't need to be affiliated with nobody's party. We don't. Democrats have done the damn thing for us. Independent. Right. We need to be as our own independent black party. That's what we need. We need our own party. No more waiting for J.B. Crystal and the rest of them clowns to do anything. Now, I'm going to say this. We going to the polls. We going to the polls. Now listen to me closely. How many people out here suffer during this pandemic? Not a pandemic, but a pandemic. How many people suffer? All of us. Everybody. So what I'm saying is this. We, the people, need to get together. We're going to start this black political party. We're going to recognize this cause. It's about America right now. It's about black people. It's about 265. It's about no economic development. We built. It's about areas of taking out the jobs. That's what this is about. Take our land back. We built it. It's our land. We built it. And I'm telling the alderman right now, he's here. Brother Alderman. We built it. It's our land. Coming into the community.
Oh! And welcome to Let the Truth Be Told. Folks, we got a great show, and we got great guests. A lot of us are worried about our parental rights in the schools and what they're doing to our children. But I have some people here today, State Rep Dan Coughlin and elect State Senator Kathleen Murray. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know you're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio, and I'm your host, David L. Lowry Jr., and the show is Let the Truth Be Told, Let the Truth Be Told. I'd rather for you to hurt me with the truth than come for me with a lie. Let's get it in, y'all. Let's get ready to rumble. Good morning, Vietnam. Good morning, good afternoon. Wherever you at in the country and the world right now, welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. Folks, we got a great show coming tonight. You know, Here in the state of Illinois, we have had a lot of problems with our school system. Our children have been under attack, and parents have lost their parental rights regarding their children, and it's just been a total mess. But we do have some legislators here in the state of Illinois who also have the best interests of the people of Illinois at hand. And so those folks tonight are here on our show to talk about a new bill that we're going to present. It's called the Parents' Right Bill here in the state of Illinois. And in this bill, it will allow parents to become parents again, to take back control of their children, to take back control of the schools, and get Illinois back into some type of order. And with no further ado, I want to bring my first guest in. I'm going to get everybody in. My first guest, State Senator-elect, Kathleen Murray. Ms. Murray, welcome to Let the Truth Be Told.
Thank you for having me here.
Listen, start telling the people a little bit about, folks, this woman is fantastic. She has been in the private world, the private sector with manufacturing. She's been all over the world, her expertise. She is the perfect person for us to have in office here in the senator's office in the state of Illinois of the 21st District. And I want her to talk a little bit about a bill that she's preparing to present to the legislation when she gets in on November 8th. So people here in Illinois, go out, pull the punch. Miss Kathleen Murray, she is what we need. She has a new bill that she's bringing to give parents their rights back. Miss Murray, start talking a little bit while I bring the rest of the guests in.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for allowing me here tonight and bringing some awareness to the topic and to what's happening in our country and particularly in our state. I'm a mom. That's number one in my life is being a mother, and I have watched over the last few years the decline in an attack on family, and it's been alarming. And I continue to see the rights over time. The rights of parents have slowly been pulled away, and parents are losing the oversight on their children, and it's being taken up by the state. And it's getting to the point where I just have had enough. And there's a lot of reasons why I decided to stand up and run for office. But this is one of the top issues that apart from crime, which was the catalyst into getting to making my decision to run. But it's really what I witnessed, personally as a parent, and then seeing what happened during COVID, and going to school board meetings and witnessing firsthand the attack on parents, attack on family, and watching in shock at what's happening in our school district, despite the amount of tax dollars that are going into our education system, and being one of the top in the country in Illinois. We have one of the lowest proficiencies in the country, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And then you see that what's happening, the agenda that's being pushed in schools and corrupting our children, and bringing sex into the classroom. We need to be focusing on education. Parents need to be parents. The schools and the school districts need to stay out of the role of parent and leave parents to parenting. And they need to focus on, school districts and teachers need to be focused on education and educating children and getting back to the traditional role of education in our schools.
I want to read to my listeners today, to the American people and patriots across this country. I'm going to give you a summary of what this bill is saying. And also, I want to take my hat off to Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who put this bill together, because in Florida, he's already signed it into law. And this bill gives parents their rights back to make decisions on what our children are being taught, and the curriculum. All of these things are being given back the rights are given back to the parents in Florida. And this bill will do the same thing here in Illinois. I want to read a quick summary and then I want to get your take on it. The summary of this bill is parents, not the government, have the authority and responsibility to raise their minor children according to their values, to determine the appropriate time to introduce sex-related topics, to make decisions for the physical, emotional, and mental wellness of their child, and to control the transition from childhood to adulthood. Ms. Murray, explain a little bit about this, what's into this bill, so the parents can know exactly what their rights are again. Because it said the most important is to give parents their power back in the school choice. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, school choice. To me, that's one of the, that's one of the most important factors of the bill, and it's really giving parents power and decision in where to send their children. And so it allows, school choice is essentially allowing the funds to follow, the taxpayer funds to follow the child. So parents would have the right to have their children's taxpayer dollars go to the educational institute or provider of their choice, whether that's public or private. And so parents would get vouchers equivalent to what the dollar amount would be given to the public school. They would have vouchers to go towards the school of their choice. And, this particularly would help, children growing up in low income areas that have school districts that aren't adequately funded, or in areas that are, performing low. That at least allows children to go to a school of their choice. Obviously, this also is very important with what's happening at the school level with the social agendas that are being pushed on children with sex in the classroom. So if you're part of a district that's adopted these new policies, then you can opt out and choose to take, to enroll your child in a private school. So it really is giving parents power over their education and not just having to accept what's being dictated down.
State Rep Dan, you want to comment on that?
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you inviting me on. I hope this isn't too much of a distraction. We're on the Bailey bus here heading into Effingham. But it's a great bill. We've been fighting for this. I've been in the General Assembly for 4 years. And this is something that needs to happen. I come out of the nursing home industry, the long-term care. And in that industry, the money follows the resident. So, when we had our group homes, we had the capacity to serve 16 people, but we had to make sure that those families, those individuals were served in order for us to get paid. We didn't just get paid to have 16 beds, 16 beds in our home. And then if there were 15 or 14 or 13 people in there. So this is not a novel concept. It needs to happen. We go step back a little bit into the Parents' Bill of Rights. This is that's a great start. We also, though, have to get parents involved. Mm-hmm. This is part of what I'm hearing from teachers is that we have to get parents to be involved with their children. So I look forward to seeing the bill. I hope that it gets through the Senate, and Kathleen would certainly want to help, shepherd that through the House.
Mr. Binky, you want to add something to this bill?
No, I mean, it's been going on for a long time. When I was in school, the parents had everything to say. You get into trouble at school, the parents were called.
Yes.
The parents had a question, they called the school. They laid the rules down to the school. And they let the school know if my child is there, it's your responsibility to make sure they're getting an education. It's to make sure that they're at school and minding the teachers. I mean, that was the thing, is we couldn't get by with being derogatory toward the teachers. If we weren't at school, we got busted for it. You know, the school and the parents work together. Now there's a big fight on who, and the schools are predominantly the ones that want to have all the say so.
Now, in this bill, it says parents notification, and I'm gonna read a little bit of it. It said parents notification requires the district school board. It requires the district school board and public charter schools to adopt procedures that comports with the certain provisions of law for notifying parents of certain information, medical, healthcare, and well-being, obtain parental consent to all medical and healthcare services or procedures, notifying parents of healthcare services, permits Illinois public schools personnel from discouraging or prohibiting parental notification and involvement in critical decisions affecting students' emotional, mental, and physical well-being. It prohibits school district personnel from encouraging students to withhold information from their parents. I like this bill because in the bill, SB 818, the transing bill that Governor Pritzker signed into law, this bill teaches our children to hate parents. It teaches our children to lie and deceive the parents when they feel that they might want to change their agendas. And so this Bill of Rights, true Bill of Rights for parents, is what is needed not only in the state of Illinois, but across this country. I want to say Senator Murray, because I speak things into existence. Senator Murray, you want to talk a little bit about the notifications in this bill?
Yeah, that's a really, I mean, parents being aware of what's happening in the school, what's happening with their child, you know, that's gone away over the last several years. And, you know, parents need to know what is happening that impacts you know, whether it's medical, their well-being, emotional well-being, mental issues, healthcare. I mean, let's talk about the parental notification of, you know, abortion to a minor child. I mean, this to me is ludicrous to think that any legislator would support taking away notification of your minor child having a medical procedure. It's insane to me. You know, I have to sign off on an aspirin for my child to take it at school. I have to sign off on my child to go on a field trip. It's just bizarre that our school and our state is pushing the parent out of the picture and, you know, stepping into the role of parent. You know, I know that I've often heard this, you know, the unique cases, you know, where perhaps, you know, if a child is being sexually assaulted or, you know, was raped by a father, and you know, and this would be a special case where, you know, the child, you know, is afraid to share this information. So, you know, there does need to obviously be some kind of provision in the event of those, you know, where there's a criminal assault of, you know, of a child. But, you know, that in and of itself should be separate, because that's a rare exception. And it just overall, parents need to be parents. The school districts, the state, the government need to stay out of you know, out of the role, and parents need to be notified of what's going on with their children.
And you know, you're so right about that, because as I read down this bill really opens the door for parents to get their rights back, because it says safety and crime notification. Parents have the right to keep their children safe and notified of any violent activity occurring on school grounds, at the school, or within the district. And so with this bill, it really gives the parents back the strength that they should have. It says parents have the right to be notified of situations affecting the safety of their minor children at school. Schools are required to notify parents and guardians in a timely manner of any of all of the following incidents occurring in and around the school. Physical assaults, sexual assaults, appearance of weapons, drug use or possessions, police investigation, crimes, including misdemeanors committed by teachers or other school or local educational agency employees, whether such offenses were committed on or off the campus of the school. And so basically this is giving the parents back the power to be known or notified, just like you said. When we was coming up, they had to notify the school if they wanted to give us Tylenol. And now they're talking about turning the kids against the parents, helping them get operations if they want gender changes, keeping the parents in dark about all of this. So this bill would address all of those issues that we face. I'm gonna get State Rep. State Rep, you want to comment a little bit about that bill that we're talking about, parents notification?
We debated that bill hotly on the House floor. It made no sense. I don't know how a mother, and we have several mothers in the General Assembly, but I don't know how a mother could have voted for that bill. I mean, just the mere fact that your daughter may very well go through some traumatic medical procedure and you have no idea why she's behaving the way she's behaving. We fought it and fought it and fought it. I don't know that we'll ever get back to it, but I mean, it's one of the worst things that we did. There was some other bad things regarding abortion, but this is one of the worst bills that we ever that I've seen.
If you want to. Oh, sorry, Dan.
Okay. I just hope that we get enough people to come back to Springfield and we can revisit this. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words of how anyone with a conscience would have supported that bill.
Yeah, you're hitting on a really good point, and that's the emotional impact that it has on a child's well-being. Put aside the medical issues and the fact that your minor daughter is going through a major medical, probably and likely maybe their first medical procedure. That in and of itself is concerning. But there are going to be lingering emotional issues with it that you're not able to address with your child because you're in the dark and you don't understand what's happening. So we already have mental health issues on the rise. We have children that are depressed, suicidal. And now we're going to add this element where we're keeping parents out of the know with regards to the child's physical and medical and emotional well-being.
They just had an instance down in Florida where a little girl, a 12-year-old girl, tried to commit suicide because the teacher told her that anything we talk about here, and they were talking about medical castration and sex changes and everything. She went home and tried to commit suicide because she was told by the teacher not to tell her parents. So, I mean, yeah, it's real, you know.
It most definitely is real, because since we got involved with this, the Living and Driving While Black Foundation, we got involved with it about 3 years ago before Bill SB 818 was put together. And I went to a bunch of the pastors and I begged and pleaded with them, we need to address this issue. This issue needs to be addressed, and they put it on the back burner. But this is what I want to say to the American people, the people here in Illinois. They created this bill under the guise of COVID. J.B. Pritzker signed this bill into law at midnight. He didn't promote it through the paper. The legislators, the Democratic legislators, did not get together. They did not call town hall meetings to inform the parents about this sex educational bill. They did nothing. They treated the parents like they didn't have kids, and they passed this. And it is really a shame that all the black legislators in my community, you know, LaShawn Ford, and you name all the rest of these clowns who did not call our parents and say that they was going to do this. And this is why I'm saying we need to remove J.B. Pritzker. We need to remove all the current the Democrats out of Chicago, all them House Negroes, they need to get thrown out of office because they've allowed this governor to sign a bill to take away parents' rights and to abuse our children and have them to hate us. All of this stuff is already in the school system, not only in Illinois, but it's happening across the country and mostly all the Democratic states. And so that's why I was so happy to have you on here, Senator Murray, to talk a little bit more about this bill so that I speak into existence. You're going to win. I speak it in. and to talk about this bill, because this bill gives parents their rights back. And I want to read a little bit more about the curriculum. It says in this bill that we're trying to get passed, it says parents, not the state, will control the transition from childhood to adulthood of their children. Their children. Parents have the right to opt out of subjects taught in public and private schools in which they do not want their children to participate in. Prohibits classroom discussions in Illinois public schools that extend beyond approved sex ed standards, including but not limited to teaching minors 17 and under how to consent to sexual activities. And just think about that. They got kindergartens trying to figure out what lesbians are. It says also how to consent to sexual activity, showing high explicit sexual materials discussing staff sexuality, sexual experience, and or teaching sexual orientation or gender identity in the classroom. Okay, let's talk about that. What they have done here in Illinois, when they took the parents right away, when they signed this bill, they made it to where if your child goes to school and like any other 10, 12-year-old small child, they be thinking about somebody, and it's like a fad. Well, I think I might want to be a girl today. And your child decides that they tell this gender counselor that they want to be a girl, if a boy want to be a girl, that is when the tricky part starts. That's when they tell your child to keep your mouth shut. Don't tell your parents. Then, without the parents' permission, they start giving them puberty shots, hormone blockers, without the parents' knowledge. And we know this to be fact because we took a case in California a couple of months ago, and this young lady felt at the time she wanted to be a boy. So she went to this gender coordinator, and they start giving this child, without the parents, all these shots, hormone shots, and all of that. And so one of the teachers stood up and said, you know what? This is not right. I'm not going to call this girl a boy. And so they got upset with the teacher and forced her to try to call. Look at Mr. Big. They tried to force the teacher to call this girl a boy. The teacher refused. So then when open house came and the parents came up to the school to check the kids' process, this is what being taught in the school, folks. And so the teacher, the school board went back to the teacher and says, okay, the parents are here. We don't want you to call the girl a boy, but we want you to call her by her original name so the parents don't know that we're feeding their kids these hormone and the blocker stuff, okay? So now the teacher said, no, I'm not going to do that. And when the parents came, she told the parents what they was doing to their child with the hormone blockers and all of that, right? Okay, so now this is in California. The parents takes the child out of school. Now they're in the process of filing a lawsuit against the school. They fired the teacher. The teacher took them to court and won and was given a lot of back pay on her job back if she wanted to. But that's a shame that the parents are going through this. And now all of a sudden, this little girl who wanted to be a boy now wants to be a girl again. So that's the variance right there. Our children they think that they want to be something when they don't want to be it. They change their mind. And for the schools to be teaching our kids to hate us and hiding stuff like this, it is against our parents. It's against what parents teach their kids. And I just think that this bill, we got to get it through so that we can give parents their right back. State Rep, I want you to talk about that.
Well, I think it's the problem. The other part of the problem that we're seeing, David, is that we're teaching teachers to teach this, and we're teaching teachers that it's okay to teach this, and that's that's going to be a real problem as we go down the road here, because we have young men and women wanting to go into the teaching profession, and they're being taught how to teach this. So they think it's perfectly okay, that it should be part of the curriculum. We've got to stop that. We've got to get back into the universities as well. And we've got to tell these universities that this is not part of the curriculum, which is, I guess, part of my, being on this bus tour with Senator Bailey. We've got to take back the Illinois State Board of Education. We have to not only give the parents a right to say, but we've got to make sure that the state of Illinois is not telling teachers to teach this stuff. So, it's a kind of a two-pronged approach here, but it can be done if we get the right people in place.
And that's why I was so happy that Senator Murray came on the show. Senator Murray, the right to know the curriculum, the right to know what is being taught in schools with access to see all curriculum and supporting material. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, but first I want to go back, if you don't mind,
Yes.
on something that was mentioned about the child in California with confusion. I think it's really, I have a psych background. That was my degree. That's what I studied. Part of child development and the changes that children go through, it is very normal for children to, be confused about things, or, role play, or, have developmental, thoughts about their identity and who they are. It's normal. It's part of child development. And so for the school to use this, this confusion that the child is faced with and force them into a direction, instead of it being a phase or a period of time for the child to figure out what they want, it is just ludicrous, and it's terrifying. And so, yeah, I just wanted to address that, because it's just alarming, and part of child development for that to happen at times. So with regarding the right to know, I mean, this is basic stuff. This is basic stuff that we, in our generation, this is what our school system and our our parental rights were about. We need to know what's going on. There needs to be full transparency at the school level with regards to everything that's happening in the classroom, with regards to the curriculum, what's being taught, what books are being used, what the material, and what the parent should have access to get copies of the textbook, to review the materials, to review the lectures, to find out who are the guest speakers that are coming to the schools and what their backgrounds are. I mean, it is complete, full transparency that is needed and required for the parents to be aware of what children are being taught. And that's not happening. And we're becoming further and further away from that every single year.
And,
so we need to get back to basics and full transparency.
And that's why, like I said, it's so important that people watching the show, you need to share it around to the parents here in the state of Illinois. You need to share it around the parents. We are all across the country. If you don't catch us on Facebook, TECNTV.com, go straight to the channel. This is a very important message to parents across the country, because our children are being totally indoctrinated with this new type of homosexual lifestyle. And it's so horrible about the curriculum. We did a show a couple of weeks ago, and we was talking about the curriculum for kindergartners. Mr. Binky, you want to show that Gay BC book one time?
Yeah, I've got to get it.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. They have changed curriculums around parents, and they don't even know about it. Because when I talked to a lot of parents about SB 818, they didn't know what I was talking about, nor did they know about the bill itself. But this kind of curriculum is what kindergartners are having to face in school now. In this book, it teaches kindergartners about what how are you 5 years old, and what you're going to do, and how you going to comprehend what a lesbian is. How you 5 years old, how you going to comprehend what a bisexual, B is for bisexual. See, this is what I'm talking about. Parents are not aware that the school have made these changes, that they have attacked and tried to take their parental rights away. our kids are being subject to this type of lifestyle and attitude. And see, this is why the children are so confused. And this is why you see a lot of kids out here killing and shooting, because they don't know who they are. They have no identity of self. The school system is pumping all of this new stuff into their heads. They really can't read. They're not critical thinkers. They're failing in math and science, but they're graduating them at 95 and 80%. So they're graduating a bunch of dummies as far as children go. Parents, if we don't stand up and we don't get Kathleen Murray elected as the senator, if we don't keep people like State Representative Dan Calkins who are fighting for parents' rights, then we're really going to be in bad shape if we don't get these people in the office and get Prickster out of office so that our children will have a chance to grow up normal lifestyles and learn things like marriage between a man and a woman. These are the type of things they need to know, instead of making it okay to say, well, I'm 5 years old and I need to know what a lesbian is. State Rep, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not an attorney, but I would advise Mr. Binky not to have that book around kids, because you could be arrested for pedophilia.
Exactly.
There's
But they teach it in the schools.
There's laws, but see the title, it's perfectly normal. This is what fools parents and kids.
You understand?
Yeah.
But when you open that book up,
Yep.
and you're walking around in public with that book, showing it to kids in the mall, you're going to get arrested.
You betcha.
But yet we allow our teachers, we allow those books in our libraries, and we allow our teachers to teach that curriculum. And you know, if I were a parent, you know, and I had the kids in a grade school, and I found out that Mr. Binky was opening this book and teaching my daughter or my son, you know, this type of behavior, I might try to get him arrested. I mean, this is aberrant. It's I don't know how it's gotten into our culture, to be honest with you. But we've got to fight it. We have to fight it every day in every way possible. And giving parents their rights. Why would, you know, this is one of the things that, and no offense, Kathleen, but why do we need a parent's bill of rights?
Right.
I mean, why would we ever even need a parent's bill of rights? Parents have rights.
Thank you, sir.
Well, because we went to sleep, because the parents went to sleep, and then the legislators start changing the laws all around the parents themselves. We have no other choice right now, because they've already signed this homosexual bill into law. They're not going to repeal it. So now Senator Murray is going to have to get in the office and go head on and get this Bill of Rights passed. Senator Murray, let's talk a little bit about some of the budgeting. I heard you say the money follows the child now. So parents really are not stuck in the school system now that they can take the money and move to their own. Talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, it's called the Invest in Kids Act. And that is, I think there's certain areas, and State Rep Dan Calkins, you can probably elaborate a little bit more about what exists right now. But essentially, the Invest in Kids Act allows parents to use state-funded dollars that are allocated and given to the public schools per child. And those funds would be given to the parents in a form of a voucher to allow children to have options and go to the school of their choice. So if you want to take your child out of your public school that's in your school district by your zip code, you can choose to go to a private school or an alternative school of your choice. It really is giving parents the choice, and that's what the dollars following the child means.
And that's
on that.
Yeah. So this is what Kathleen's bill would do, and it's what we've been pushing for, is to allow that to happen. What we have in this currently is that an individual can donate money to scholarships in private schools and get a tax deduction for it. and then that school can use the money to help deserving kids who couldn't afford the tuition. This is a program that was started. Governor Pritzker has tried every year, every budget, to cut this out. And this is the only way a lot of underprivileged children are getting these scholarships to attend private schools. And he claims that he wants to help children, and yet the most deserving but underprivileged kids that don't have the financial means to go to a parochial school or a private school, this is a way that can be helped, and it encourages people who want to do that to do a tax deductible donation, and it's capped, I think, at $250 million. We've tried to raise the cap. We think that it's, we need more of this until we can get I presume Senator to be Murray's bill through the House and the Senate and signed in by Governor Bailey.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Signed in by Governor Bailey. That sounds real good. Go ahead.
I was going to say this needs to be a program available to everyone in the state of Illinois. Right. Every child needs to have that right. And the reason why it's getting pushed back, follow the money, right? So if these low performing school districts and schools and these problem schools and parents start pulling the money away from those schools and putting them into private education, what's going to happen to these schools? So of course the unions will be in an uproar, and the school districts. So that's why it's getting resistance.
No, but the pushback, Kathleen, the pushback is that what it will do is it will make our public schools productive. They will have to compete for students, just like a restaurant,
like in the private sector.
Right.
If you're a low performing business, you're gone.
You're gone. And I believe, and I don't believe you are either. We're not trying to get rid of the public school system. What we're trying to do is to incentivize them to actually do what they're supposed to do. Exactly. Right now, there's no incentive.
Right. Raise the bar.
Right. So if you want students in your classrooms, you better be producing education that is going to lead to meaningful employment, or the parents and the kids are going to go find someplace else to go.
And I'm so glad. That's already a law? Is that already enacted in the system already?
No,
it's not. It's a scholarship based program. Mm-hmm. It's private, and state rep, you could probably talk to a little bit more, but it is not a law. What I'm trying to propose would be
exactly a law. Right.
And that's what we need to, because when I read the Illinois report card on some of these towns, like I'm just throw a few out here. Okay, Rockford, Illinois, 145 population, 145,000. It says the learning efficiency is 16%. The math proficiency is 12%. The science proficiency is 35%. The graduation rate is 87%.
Yeah. Not only is the graduation rate 87%, David, but look at the teacher evaluation. And their teachers, all of their teachers get these outstanding, excellent educator evaluations, and they have an 80 some odd % graduation, and yet their students, 30% of their students are at grade, read and write and do math at grade level. What are we doing to our society?
Hey,
what
Dave,
are we doing to these kids?
Dave,
by design.
I want to follow up with what they were talking about here about getting the public schools productive. They're not productive because of one big reason. We have what's called the Department of Education. And that Department of Education The states have got to get rid of it because they are rewarding failure.
Right.
They are sending money to states, especially California, Illinois, New York, et cetera, and they're rewarding failures of our school system. The Department of Education was created in 1979. That Department of Education is not a constitutional agency. And this is the prime example that our founding fathers did not want centralization of education or other things. I'll put it that way. There's plenty other, Department of Energy, et cetera, et cetera. But what the Department of Ed is doing, they are the ones that are setting the criteria for the states, and it's failing. So the states have got to stand up and get rid of the Department of Education. If they don't, and they still are taking money to pay these schools and states for failure, we're not going to change nothing.
I do want to interject one point here. The Department of Education was founded in 1979, and I'm going to read to you what it was founded as. So the U.S. Department of Education was established to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. So I ask, how does sex education, gender identity change, revisionist history with, CRT, and achieve and are preparing our children for global competitiveness? It's not. So it's going against the entire objective that it was founded under. That's the problem. They are just so far away from what the purpose of education is, and we need to get back to what education is about, and it's back to our tradition of education in this country when we were globally competitive and we're producing contributing members of society, and we were in the 80s we were excelling in the world and in terms of education, and look where we are now.
And this is part and I don't, I guess, try to be bashing unions, but the public sector teachers union has played a big role in this. I don't know how or why they've gotten to this point of this agenda, because my wife was a teacher, and really teachers wanted their students to excel. They worked hard. They bring homework at night and grade papers and all of the things to help make sure that the kids in their classrooms were learning and achieving. And now, for some reason, the teachers union has taken a turn to the left so hard that instead of being concerned about academic achievement, it's all about social issues. And I don't know how we change that. That's one of the biggest obstacles that I see, because they have this built-in cadre of dues payers, and they collect a tremendous amount of money, and therefore they find their way into influencing legislation.
And I want to keep reading here. It says the right to observe. I know when Mr. Binky went to some school board meetings, he was thrown out at the meeting because he asked questions about money. He was they wanted to arrest him. Binky, you want to talk a little bit about that, because you were there, and they wanted to call him a terrorist, and he's just a concerned parent. And my thing that's in this bill that I see it, and I really like the fact that this is in there. It says it gives the parents the right to observe their children during the school day, supported by federal law, ESSA, parental involvement, regular two-ways, meaning for communication, and are encouraged to be actively involved in the child's education. And parents are full partners in their education and are included in decision-making on advisory committee to assist the education of their child, the right to visit their minor child at school during school hours. Now, that's something that has always been a part of being a parent, to come up, because I can remember a couple times my parents came up to the school and just sit in the class and watch me act up. So, and I got a whooping when I got home. So for the parents not to be able to come and watch their children and see how they perform in the classroom, that has been taken away. You want to talk a little bit about that, Senator Murray?
Yeah, I experienced it firsthand. I was asked to speak at school boards during the mask mandates, and I was shocked being an adult, being treated the way I was, speaking in front of the board. It was definitely eye-opening to me, but I felt like I was treated like a child. I was told that if I don't put my mask on, the meeting was going to stop, and that that they wouldn't even consider allowing the children to have their mask removed. And this was in I'm trying to think. This was probably in the spring of this year. So it was at the end of the, right before the schools ended up removing the mask mandates. But it was shocking how the schools, they don't want you to observe. They want you out of the classroom. They want to teach in a silo. They want parents as far away as possible. And we need to get back to the observing and accountability of the schools and the teachers. And having parents sit in on the classroom is their worst nightmare.
I started out going to the school board meetings initially was because the school board wanted to take the names of the founding fathers off of the schools, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, et cetera, citing that they were racist, slave owners, etc. Well, I confronted every one of them with a phone call. I had two challenges. I proved what I was saying as truth, and they quit talking to me. So I went to the school boards, and I called these people out right in front of everybody, the administrators, the video being recorded, and all this other stuff. And they just plain ignored the whole thing. And then, as it happened to you, Miss Murray, you go to a school board meeting and they started to face the masking garbage. Well, thank you, Tom DeVore, because everything that Tom DeVore did, I either downloaded or I copied, any paperwork, whatever. And I went and challenged the attorney. I shut the attorney down. And the next thing I know, the school board's sitting there going, okay, the meeting is over with. And the next day in the paper, the media blamed us for being in the right. This is the other problem, is not only the schools and the corrupt teachers are not being held accountable. They do what they want, even when you prove they're wrong. But it's the media that sides with them to make the people in the right look like they're wrong.
Let me jump in, because this is a favorite topic of mine. Will be coming here in the next few months. You talk about being shut down by the school board. Who are those people? They're your neighbors. They're your neighbors. They're elected officials. They're not appointed. They don't just parachute in from nowhere. These people live in your community. They live in your school district. They're elected by you and your neighbors. And this is how we take our schools back. We have got to take our school boards back.
Yep.
The school board has one employee, and that's the superintendent. And if the school board tells the superintendent, we're not doing masks, we're not closing our schools, we're not teaching this corrupt curriculum, and the superintendent doesn't obey them, the school board can fire the superintendent and find someone that'll do the work the way the school board tells them to do the work. But we have to get people involved. We have to get people that are willing to stand up, defend their community standards, and become members of school boards. We can't sit around and say, well, I've got a job and I got 3 kids and I don't know. I don't want to make anybody mad. That's BS. The only way we're going to take our schools back is when we take our school boards back. We empower our school boards by empowering our parents. And that's really the next grassroots drive that we're going to be very, very deeply involved in starting after this general election. When Darren Bailey gets elected governor, of course.
Go ahead, State Merchants.
This lady right here.
That's exactly what I'm pointing at. Yep.
She's the one among thousands of other women that stood up while the men sat back and kept their mouths shut. If it wasn't for women like Miss Murray and others like her, we wouldn't be talking about this. We would have to live with it.
It's mama bears. Parents were not, it took COVID and what was happening at the schools for parents to wake up, and moms especially, it's the maternal instinct to say, oh, no, you're not doing that to my child. My child is suffering. My son was wearing a mask because he felt compelled to and was concerned about bullying or it impacting his academic future because he knew teachers would punish him in ways that they could. And, subjective grading, for example, which could lower his GPA, which could influence make him ineligible for the college of his choice. So he wore a mask, not because he wanted to stand up, but because he felt he had to. My son is a 6'4" sophomore football player. He's very athletically fit. He trains, he was wearing a mask. It got wet in gym class. And he explained it was sucking into his face and he felt like he was suffocating and he passed out, got lightheaded, passed out, hit his head. That is why I got involved. When he came home from school and told me about what happened, I was furious because my child suffered because of policies that are in place that are harming my child. And I said, okay, enough is enough. And that's when I started calling the school, writing letters to the, to the school board. That's why I got involved, because that hurt my baby and I was not going to tolerate it. So many parents are actually getting, mothers, I want to say, so many mothers have stood up because they see their child suffering and they can't tolerate it. And so that's why I do have a lot of faith that I think, Mr. Binky, you mentioned before about how parents were more involved in our generation. Mm-hmm. And that's gone away. I agree that's gone away. But
you're only 29.
Oh no, I'm approaching half a decade. A woman doesn't like to talk about her age, but
I'm almost 70 now.
But it took COVID for mama bears to get involved and say enough. And so I do see a trend where there are so many moms who are standing up and wanting to get involved and wanting to get these school board members out and get some fresh blood elected. So I do have faith that it's coming. It's going to be slow, but it's coming.
And you know what? I support Senator Murray. I support State Rep Dan CAULKINS 100%. You guys got your work cut out for it, but we got to get you in office, Senator Murray. That's the thing. And people in the state of Illinois, for this mama bear, to see her child be injured, I'm praying and hoping that a lot of mother bears start to jump up and say, you know what? She's standing up for her kids. Stand up for your children. You had these kids. The school didn't. It's you that put them in the bed at nighttime. It's you that deal with their issues. You buy their clothes. You take care of them. These are your children. And the schools and the government have no right to be telling you what you should do. They have no right to be telling your child to hate you. They have no right to be teaching your child about homosexual activities without you knowing it. They have no right to do none of this. And so this is so important. Senator Murray, talk a little bit about this bill. We got to end up. I want to bring you back for a second shot because we want to do this again. Let our parents know more about what you're trying to do when you get elected, and so that they can look for you. And we're going to have you back on this show another time, maybe in the next day or so, whenever you get ready to come back, because I want to keep getting your name out there. I want people to know that this Senator-elect Murray is going to bring some some common sense back to the schools and back to the American people and give parents that right back. Senator Murray?
It really, to summarize, the bill that I'm proposing would give parents power back and allow parents, not the government, to have the authority and the sole responsibility to raise their children according to their own personal values, and to determine the appropriate time to introduce sex-related topics. This has nothing to do with the school deciding that a kindergartner should be should understand sex. It's up to the parent to decide when that appropriate time is, not the government or the schools. And also to make decisions on the physical, the emotional, and mental well-being of their child. And then, of course, you know, again, it's the right to understanding anything that's going on at the school with regards to violent activity, privacy. You know, there's issues with privacy as well, children's privacy. Yesterday, I got a text message the screenshot from my son showing me about a question in the Glenbard South school on a survey that said, "Is oral sex sex?" in the school. Just yesterday, I saw this. So, you know, there's transparency issues that need to, you know, people need to know what's going on. The right to school, see, you talked about budgets. The right to know about the transparency in budgets. What are the expenditures? You know, where is the money being spent? And the right to be heard. Parents need to be heard. They need to know what's going on, but they also need to be heard and listened to when they have concerns, and not just listen, but they need to do something about, you know, how the parents want to see their child educated.
I want to thank you so much. Like I said, we're going to get you back on, and we want to keep your name out there, folks. You're on the ballot, correct? Or are you
I am on the ballot.
What numbers you got to push? Let them know all that good stuff about being on the ballot, how they can get you elected. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in my district 21 is Lombard, Glen Ellen, little part of Wheaton, Lisle, and Naperville. But remember, if elected, even if you can't vote for me, if elected, I would have the ability to vote on things that affect the entire state and can change the entire state. So if you know anyone in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Lisle, Naperville, Wheaton, please get the word out, because in 2018, the incumbent, my opponent, only won by 1,200 votes out of 98,000. So it's a very, very tight race. And assuming all things equal, it's very winnable. But I need, you know, I don't have a lot of support. I don't have a lot of funding like my opponent. I'm pretty much on my own as a grassroots effort with angry moms, you know, behind me. But, you know, I don't have the ability to make fancy commercials or, you know, spend money on, you know, campaign materials. So it's really word of mouth that I'm relying on. So if you know anyone in the district that can vote for me, please spread the word.
Well, we're gonna keep you in front of this camera with us. Our show is really, we're all over the country. We have a lot of folks here in the state of Illinois, and folks in District 21. This is your new senator right here. She's bringing common sense tactics back to the American people, and whatever that we can do to help you, Senator, get it. I'm at your disposal. And believe me, if I have to come out there to Wheaton and do speeches or whatever, we're going to help you get into office. Ain't that right, Mr. Binky?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on. Call me anytime. Let me know you got the floor to come on this show all the way until you get elected. Anytime you call me, every day of the week, I'm going to have you on here so people can find out who you are and the district can make sure that they get you into office so we can get this bill passed and get parents their rights back. Thank you for coming on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, State Rep, you on the caravan bus.
I'm on the bus, Gus. We're in Effingham. I've got to go. If you don't mind, we've got a get out the vote rally here at the Keller Center. Got Congressman Bost here. We've got Senator Bailey. We have Stephanie Trussell. several of our state reps, a couple of state senators, and the parking lot. I'm looking around. People are coming and streaming in here. This is kind of a get people to the polls, as Kathleen was talking about. We need everyone to vote. We need everyone to get their family to vote, their friends to vote. We need to make sure that people, if they're not registered to vote, they still can register to vote. But we've got a bit of a hill to climb, but it's very doable, and we're working hard every day, David.
Well, State Rep, I want to give a message to Governor Bailey that he come on this show. I speak things as a pastor. I try to speak to existence, put it into the atmosphere. Okay, if you want to come on the show, the door is open. I think
Okay.
we have a large audience here in Illinois, and I think the people need to get to know him, especially the Black community. They need to know what he's about, what his ideas are, so that they just don't think like JB, he's just some hick down the road. But JB, we know that you're a hick in the house already, and you got to go for what you're doing. So take care of your business, and we'll see you. Call me anytime. Let's get Bailey on the show, okay?
I will talk to him. He's not going to be with us tomorrow, but I will talk to him this evening. I'm going in here to the hotel, and I'll spend a little time with him before he heads out.
Okay, great. Then we look forward to it, and let me know when he's ready, and
I will do that
out there, and we'll put it out there so we can get him that last push. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, Bink, the old clock on the wall said we got to go now. I really enjoyed this conversation. Your last words, my friend.
Well, if you're going to get any change happening, there's two people there that want to make the change in the right direction. Vote Democrat, you're going to be going back. Vote for a Republican, you're going to have to be heading in a better direction. So think of what you're doing when you're voting. Well,
Bink, the old clock on the wall and got us, man. I love it, brother. You've been here with me since a long time. Yeah. And we're going to keep it going, man. Don't worry about it. We'll see you tomorrow. And folks, tune in to Let the Truth Be Told. We'll see you tomorrow, Bink. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the show. We had a great show. What we're trying to do is we're trying to open doors so that the American people and the people in the state of Illinois can see what real political leaders are doing. Senator Kathleen Murray, District 21, those who live in that area, get out to vote. She has created a parents' right bill that will give the parents their rights back, just like they had before Governor Pritzker and the rest of these fools put in this homosexual law, okay? So people in that area, District 21, y'all get out the vote. We're going to make sure that you get the last push so that we can get her into office with common sense. That's what the American people need. We need common sense politicians now that's going to carry the American people ideas, not carry themselves. So, folks, thank you for listening. These are my last words. I need the people here in the state of Illinois to really take a look at what's done happened. We lost a lot of rights. Our children are under attack. The economy is in the tank. People went through COVID. They've lost jobs. They're losing homes. We've lost lives. And COVID was not exactly what they said it was. For us now to be sitting back after COVID lost all its money funding, now that they said we never reached immunity, herd immunity, now they're saying because there's no more money to give to the doctors, no more lies to tell, they say it's okay. You can have COVID and be around anybody now because now they're saying it don't kill you. But a couple of months ago, and a couple of years ago, they were saying if you caught COVID, your chances to die was great, unless then you had the vaccination. And so to the American people, those who got vaccinated, those who got tricked, now you know that it was a big lie. The big lie was the fact that they wanted to indoctrinate our children with the homosexual lifestyle. They're in the schools, they're pushing it all over. This election would give the American people an opportunity to get back in control of this country and to get back in control of our children and our families. So to the American people and patriots across this country, we cannot let this midterm go by and leave these devil worshipers. That's right. We cannot leave these devil worshipers into office. J.B. Pritzker, all these black politicians, they're not worshiping God. They're Democrats, Democrats, demons. They don't care about God. They care about Satan. They care about homosexuality. To the sodomites, God's going to deal with you. And I'm telling the American people now, this is where we stand. This is where we stop this foolishness. This is where we take our parents' rights back. This is where we take our children back. And this is where we start to get back to the American way of life and the family structure that God created, marriage between a man and a woman. So let us go to the polls during this midterm. Let us also become poll watchers and supervisors so we can watch who's voting where. Because if we don't pay attention to the voting booths, if we don't have people that are willing to watch what the Democrats are going to do, because they're going to try to buy this election, believe that. They're going to try to buy it, they're going to cheat, they're going to lie, they're going to do everything to stay in office. But I'm telling the American people, let us stand together. Let us move these incumbents out. Let us take back our rights. Let us take back our children. And let us put God back in the control of this country again. And that's what's going to make America great again, is when we put God back, we get Satan out, we get all these homosexuals out, and let us return to what God said, that marriage is between a man and a woman, not between a man and a man. So let us go to the polls. Let us get all of these devil worshipers out of office, and let us put new blood in that's going to represent the American people and help us create laws that can give us our parental rights back so that our children can grow up to learn something, to learn about math, science, and reading, to become competitive in the world with education against other folks' kids and other country kids. Let us get back to the basics, to save our children, to save our lives, and let us put God first again so this country can prosper. God bless you. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same station, TECENTV.com, Facebook Live, Yahoo, you name it, we're here. See you tomorrow. God bless you and peace.